V8 Supercars around the oval circuit. Say hi, guys.
Hello, hello.
So aku perasan sekarang masuk kat oval lift.
Tak payah pada ke kanan, pada ke kiri.
So these guys are just going out there for their practice sessions for around this Daytona International Speedway. Absolutely flat out running from start to finish. The practice sessions are only part of it. We're going to have a little bit of qualifying and a race happening. And that's going to be some really, really interesting action indeed. Usually you only see stock cars around here. We've got some slightly more advanced V8 Supercars to hammer around this speedway. About 5.5 kilometers long, if memory serves me right, and all of it absolutely flat out. The Daytona International Speedway has seen speeds up to 215 miles an hour during the heady days of the 80s. That's, if I remember correctly, over 320 kilometers an hour. So even nowadays, they're still up in the 310 kilometer an hour speed range, average speed on the lap. So it's going to be absolutely flat out from start to finish.
Matt,
Yeah.
kau kena intro balik sebab aku lupa on. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Good evening and welcome to Daytona for the SRE FunDay around the Daytona International Speedway oval. This is going to be an absolutely fantastic little event with these big V8 supercars, an absolutely unique sight, rear wing, sequential gearboxes and all the rest of the latest technological advances on perhaps one of motor racing's last bullring events, the Daytona International Speedway, one of the fastest circuits anywhere in the world. With us right now we have a few of the drivers. Say hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
And we also have Michael out there. Michael, bagaimana perasaan sekarang naik dekat oval Daytona ini?
Tengah setting kereta ni. Kereta tak lulus lagi ni. Too high, belakang too high.
Oh, okay. So, we also have right now in the Discord server Muhaimin and Azrul Nazli. Guys, bagaimana setup kereta tu? Ada banyak ke yang kena tukar daripada road course?
Okay, for Daytona, they can turn left, right? So negative camber should be higher on the right side than on the left. Sepatutnya the pergikan minimum negative camber. Okay, the wing should be 10. And gear ratio should be the lowest one, 0.931.
Yep.
And tire pressure, I think tire pressure should be higher because it will gradually generate the heat.
Yeah.
So it should be as quite high from normal tire pressure for the road course.
Yeah.
That's all that I can think of. It should be the rear should be the height of the rear car should be lower than the front, and that's quite a mystery how to tune it.
Yeah, to try and get the feeling, because the car basically has to be set up to turn left, and that's the way the guys do it at Indianapolis and at Daytona. When the car is set up perfectly, the back end always wants to step out. The car wants to turn basically hard left, and you're using the steering wheel almost to keep the car straight. So it's really very fascinating to see the setups in real life. When you see a shot of a NASCAR sitting in the pit lane, you'd think the front left-hand wheel is broken. But that's just the way the cars have to be set up for maximum performance.
Bang, kenapa belakang tinggi lagi ni bang?
Itu salah setup. Load balik baseline. Start ubah negative camber dulu. Kiri minimum, kanan maximum.
Okay.
So bagi dia staggered setup sikit. So far we have Muhammad Muhaimin fastest car on track, followed by Hanazul Elizam, Ilham Halabi, Saiful Arifin, Azril Naz. Azril? That's Azril Nazli, I believe. Ajay Renjali, Malvinderjit Singh, Rashid Rydell, Dominic and Kelvin Ha, and Michael right there in the bottom, who's still setting his car up. So Michael, kau rasa ada harapan tak untuk dapat blessing.
Tak ada harapan kat ni.
Ada harapan langsung ke?
Tak ada harapan, main je lah. Dah lah apa? Dah set up pun badai. Track keluar dulu.
Yeah, there you can see Saiful Arifin over 300 kilometers an hour through the front tri-oval section. Now you're gonna hear me during the course of the broadcast refer to the corners as if there were 5, even though you can clearly see there were 3 corners there. The tradition in oval racing is in the main banks on the end of each of the track. You have turns 1 and 2, turns 3 and 4, and the tri-oval where the main straight is located, the main start-finish line. So as we ride on board with Saiful Arifin, he's going into turn 3. And now he's going into turn 4. It's a little bit confusing, but it just means to denote that turn 3 is the entry into the banking and turn 4 is the exit out of the banking, and it just makes life a little bit easier for poor old commentators and all of the guys who have to split this rather plain looking track up. But it may look very, very plain, but there is a lot of technique to try and get the maximum performance out of the car here on the oval. It's not as easy as simply turning left. You have to really be very, very precise with the inputs in the car, and you have to be able to read the track very, very well indeed, because there's minor variations from corner to corner, from turn to turn even, and also where the racing line develops throughout the course of the race. It might be even better to go higher up the banking or to go lower down the banking. As you can see, Saiful Arifin starts off in the middle through turn 3. He tries to go down low through turn 4, but the car's just a little bit too loose. So it is a real challenge to try and keep these cars flat out. Just imagine trying to drive down the north-south highway at 300 kilometers an hour, and that's just going in a straight line. That's how hard the cars always try to, spin out. It's very dangerous. Here we have to try and do it not only in a straight line, but through very, very long, flat-out left-handers as well. So a real challenge for the guys. You can see there, Saiful Arifin very, very loose at the rear end of the car. He might have to go for a different setup on the back of these cars. Obviously, these cars not exactly designed for flat-out oval racing, but then again, where's the fun in using the right car for the right track? That's the great fun with sim racing. You want to use the wrong car for the right track just once in a while for the entertainment value. So as we go through the tri-oval here, we'll see if we can carry on for a lap around the track here. Through the tri-oval, you always want to go low through the tri-oval section. Now he's taking a very low line through here, getting as close as he can to the bottom apron. That means he's still got a lot of good grip on the track, and the track's still rubbering in, so he can take a fairly central line out of the corner.
Kaca belakang brake.
Belakang break.
Belakang lu sangat tu.
Belakang lu sangat
Terlalu lembut ke terlalu keras?
Yeah,
Mungkin wing naik sikit kot.
Wing naik sikit Okay. Tadi wing turun habis.
Naik sikit je.
Wing
Salah satu daripada benda yang boleh cuba try lah, tapi saya tak tahu kalau benda boleh jadi dekat kereta ni. Dia orang panggil Big Bar Soft Spring Setup, BBSS. Spring lembut-lembut, bar tinggi sikit. So you can try that on the front or the rear and see kalau ada efek yang positif ataupun negatif. The thing is with setup here is that especially around Daytona and Talladega, the setup really comes down to feel. If the driver can extract the most of his car and has a good feeling from it, usually the setup is right. In oval racing, there's still a black art to set up. You can only really try and set the car up off data very, very up to a point before you need to rely on the driver's feel, and that's the difference between a Jimmy Johnson and your Saturday night short track racer. And Razul Elizan there in the Adrenaline Impact into Formula car. Very, very fetching colour scheme, if I may say so myself. He's doing quite well for himself, up in second position, very, very quick indeed. But you can see the way Hanazul has his car set up, it's a little bit loose. It wants to break away. If you just turned it in like you would in a normal road course, the car will snap oversteer. And so you got to gently feed the car in, or take the lock off in some cases for really aggressive setups. You basically have to gently feed the car into the corner and come out again. It's all about being smooth and very, very precise, and being able to catch the car when everything starts to go wrong. And also, you have to have a very good feeling for drafting and aerodynamics. If you can't feel, or if you're not too clued into how the aerodynamics of the car works, you're going to have a real struggle trying to do well around Daytona, because it's always been a very aero-heavy track, and not so much for downforce, but for drag. You can literally take the air off the side of the car in front of you when you're overtaking, and if you're not careful, or if you're being deliberate in some cases, like Chase Elliott was last year, you can take enough air off the side of the car to reduce the car's side force. These cars would be generating not only downforce, but in the banks, in a group, you can start to get into side force effect. So you can actually see, once you get into a certain specific position, right along the rear quarter panel of the car in front starts to move around a lot more, just starts to lose grip because it's losing downforce from the rear end of the car. It's absolutely fascinating seeing these guys go around here. But then again, I know what most people would be tuning into this stream for, and that would be the big one around Daytona and Talladega. At a race, especially as I suspect some of the drivers here might be their first, or one of their first experiences in oval racing, when you get into a situation where too many cars try and enter the corner at the same time, you end up with 5 or 6 cars in the infield broken or rolled over. It's why people in America love NASCAR, is for the crashes. Hopefully there won't be too many crashes, because we do want to see some nice, good, clean racing as well. But that's the danger when driving in Daytona. You can see there the car in front, Calvin Ha, lost the rear end of the car, and that was literally downforce related. The air behind, the draft behind is beginning to affect the car in front. So when you're driving in a pack, you have to be really very, very careful. The car's handling changes completely. You gain a lot of speed, and you lose quite a bit of grip when you're driving in a pack. But around Daytona, the fastest way to go around is to be in a train of cars, about 4 or 5 cars deep. We've got 1 more minute left for practice before we head into qualifying. Is this single car qualifying, or single ke?
I think open lagi.
Open. Oh, macam group qualifying last year lah. So biasanya, usually they'll have single car qualifying for oval races to try and take away some of the aerodynamic performance, but these guys will just be having an open qualifying session, otherwise we'll be here all night. And also it might give them just a little bit of experience in driving, thinking aerodynamically and thinking in terms of speed alone, because times almost don't matter at this point. The only real things you're going to have to look at, I think, will just be the relatives. But there we go, Hanazul Nizam is now on the back of Rashid Rydell's car. You can see the car start to move around a little bit more once they're in the draft, but that's the quickest way around. And now that is practice finished.
Qualify
Ya je. Boleh je. Berapa saat tadi?
Dah sampai 48 dah, tapi kena
Cari kawan.
Bagi partner best.
minyak berapa ni, minyak?
Cukup 1 lap.
Minyak kalau sikit dia rendah.
Minyak 40.
40 tapi dia jadi ride hike tu terlampau tinggi. Aduh. Damper length ke spring push offset tu kena turunkan?
Double length betul kan? SPO.
SPO
Tapi tak ada masa dah pun. Saya qualify minyak full lah.
Masuk je lah. Just harap-harap ada drafting partner.
Boleh tu. Yalah.
So in the broadcast now, these guys are going to go out. They're going to try and qualify with a drafting partner, which will be very interesting indeed. Meanwhile, through the stream, just to keep up with the American theme of today, you will hear me revert back to my old oval racing tropes and refer to a car as being loose or tight. And that is simply the American phrase tight, meaning understeer. Or push, in fact. That's when you have a lot of understeer. So you have things like aero push. But if you're alone on track and it's a mechanical issue, it'll be the car would feel tight. And that's because the steering loads will increase. When you understeer on the bank, the steering gets a bit heavier. And when you lose the feeling in the steering wheel, the car gets loose, and that's when it oversteers. So tight is understeer and loose is oversteer. I suspect there's going to be a lot of drafting right now. We have Saiful Arifin working with Malvindajit Singh. They're working very well here. But oof. Oh! Now that was the graveyard crash when Saiful Arifin got the car sideways. He corrected it a little bit too much. It's very easy to overcorrect at these speeds, and he is now off into the wall. Dominic Angler running in on his own out there. It's going to be really tricky to try and get the top times. But meanwhile, Jezrin Jali has the top time so far, 48.132, followed by Dominic Ang and Muhammad Muhaimin. All the other guys are still on their way out. This is one of the few times when these drivers will actually be trying to look for traffic as opposed to avoid it. Because of the drafting effect here. Obviously these V8 Supercars not really aerodynamically tuned for these speeds and for this type of racing, but still the drafting effect will be crucial to try and get a fast lap time. You see Jezrin Jali there with Muhammad Muhaimin behind him, getting as close as he can to the wall before turning in, and gradually bringing the car into the apex of the corner. Jezrin Jali preferring a more central line through turns two there. Muhammad Muhaimin using all of the road and then some. He's trying to get as close as he can to the back of Jezrin Jali. Down the back stretch at Daytona, the fastest place in motorsports. Now into the corner here, again you can see Jezrin Jali preferring the central line through the corner, whereas Muhammad Muhaimin really using the inside line to take advantage of the draft, the side draft as well as the rear draft. Going through the tri-oval there, we'll see what times come up. And Jezrin Jali there just a little bit slower than Muhammad Muhaimin, who's now got the lead with a 47.718, so Muhammad Muhaimin really taking full advantage of the draft. He's now going to overtake Jezrin Jali. Will they start working together and try and bring their lap times down?
Are they rotating for draft partner?
Well, that wouldn't be the smart thing to do, but because Muhammad Muhaimin has managed to get a very good lap time, he might try and run away from Jezrin Jali, because obviously if the car behind you doesn't have the draft, then there won't be any advantage for them. But it looks like they're actually working together, which is smart as well, because the cars get faster and faster and faster as they get used to working together. So this is something that you see in super speedway racing, especially if there's a breakaway of 2 or 3 cars away from the main pack. It's almost like cycle racing, where they take turns in the lead trying to stay ahead and bring that gap from the first group to the second group and make it larger. So it's a very tactical game, oval racing. And this is obviously what iRacing was built off. The original developers were working on NASCAR Heat 2003, which is also a very fondly remembered oval racing sim from way back in the day. And it was their expertise in physics from that paved the way for iRacing to be what it is, one of the most accurate simulators. We can see Jeswanjali has definitely a very good run through onto the back stretch. Now he should be looking for speeds over 305 kilometers an hour, but it looks like he's backing off. Ooh, he's just maybe felt the car go loose a little bit in the back end, so he's going to have to abort that lap. Mohammed Mohamed will be pulling away now, so it's going to be very hard for the two of them to work now. Meanwhile, Saiful Arifin has gone fastest, a 47.5 second lap. As we go on board with Saiful Arifin, he's working with Calvin Ha. Now, even when you're behind a driver, you can actually make the driver in front go quicker. It's called bump drafting, and that's when you build a cushion of air between you and the car in front, and that helps aerodynamically, of course, at the cost of downforce. But as you can see, Saiful Arifin and Calvin Ha now working together. It's absolutely crucial to try and get as close as possible to the car in front in order to get a good lap time around here. Obviously, that's why in NASCAR racing they tend to do single lap qualifying, uniquely not over one lap, but over 4 laps. So sorry, single car qualifying, if I can correct myself there. So single car qualifying over 2 laps or 4 laps, depending on the track length. By the way, if any of you guys want to correct me on anything I've said or leave some words of encouragement to your favorite driver, do drop us a comment there down below. Hit that like button and subscribe to Adrenaline Impact's YouTube channel. That would be absolutely fantastic and we'd definitely appreciate it. Adrenaline Impact's iRacing coverage over the course of this period has been sponsored by C-Zone, Interformula, Todak Motorsport, Sim Racing Enthusiast, Pico Media and Simology. And so special thanks to SRE, of course, for hosting this SRE FunDay. Now we'll see
let's go see Michael, what's going on.
Okay, Michael, situation report macam mana? Dapat tak cari kawan?
Tak tahu, aku tengah try minyak full tank, tengok waktu race punya situation macam mana. So kita belasah je lah.
Tapi okey lah, yang penting tu kena jadi smooth and use the track lah. Kalau boleh nanti kita kena ada pertolongan daripada sesiapa-siapa kawan yang belakang tu.
Cuba dapatkan feeling, cuba dapatkan setup wing sebenarnya. Kita boleh laju tapi bila wing terlampau rendah, tak ada traction, senang nak terbabas pula kan.
Ya, itu dia.
So dah dapat ada dua orang syaitan di belakang tengah berlumba. So kita akan cuba curi angin dia lagi.
Iya. So bila dia memotong lagi, taktik yang paling bagus tu untuk cuba mencucukkan, tapi ada satu tu yang hampir terbabas, tak terbabas tapi hampir spin. Kereta ni biasanya agak sensitif sikit dekat oval. So bagi perasaan Michael tu berapa sensitif tak rasa kereta V8 Supercar ni kat oval?
Tak berapa dengar, Matt, sebab tengah pakai earphone.
Dia dengar bunyi enjin tu. Habis distracted.
Wow.
Weh, dapat kawal. Not bad. Biasanya dekat oval ni kalau dah start spin dah habis.
Stop and go, speeding in pit.
So we'll leave Michael there. We've done our bit to backseat drive and distract him as much as possible, but we've got another 4.5 minutes to go as we ride
4.5
on
minit
board.
boleh masuk pit ambil penalti dulu lah.
Yeah. So sekarang kita on board dengan Muhammad Mohaimin. We're now on board with Muhammad Mohaimin in 4th position. He has, I believe that's Saiful Arifin 0.11 seconds behind, 1/10 of a second. In fact, that he will try and get as close as he can. The sweet zone is about from 6/100ths to 1/10 of a second behind. So that's 0.06 to 0.1 seconds behind. That's when you get the maximum downforce out of the car. Of course, for a 500-mile race, you can't follow a car like that for too long, purely and simply because the engine would simply overheat. As when you're drafting like that, one of the benefits and one of the downsides is that you take away all the air from the radiator and grille. But you can see how hard Aymin there is pushing the car along with Saiful Arifin. They're really working well together there. We might see some improvement from Muhammad Mohaimin. We'll see as they go across the line. They must be on an outlap still, or at least Muhammad Mohaimin. But Saiful Arifin there, just getting the car slightly sideways. When you're following the car that close, fantastic car control from Saiful Arifin to keep the car in a straight line. That could have been a very, very big accident. I've seen a couple of big accidents in practice. You can tell definitely it's very, very hard work to try and keep these cars going. In fact, during the Daytona 500, it's an entire week of speed trials and testing in order to try and get the setups right for the Daytona 500 itself. So it's absolutely one of the biggest motorsports events in the world. It's the second biggest motorsport event in America after the Indy 500, with hundreds of thousands of people in the grandstands and millions more watching at home worldwide. It is definitely one of the biggest professional motorsport series.
That was very close.
That was a big crash from the car in front there, so I don't know if Calvin Haas pulling off to head into the pits. When you do go into the pits or onto the backstretch, you will see a blue marker cone. That is what they call the commit cone. And there'll also be a commit line, and basically if the drivers are coming into the pits, they're going to have to watch out for that cone. They have to make the decision before that. They have to commit to whether to go to the pits or to stay out on track. Same thing for the commit cone at the exit. You cannot get onto the racing surface before that commitment cone. So if you're wondering why there are cones on the side of a track at a place like this, and the reason why it's a cone instead of anything permanent is because very often the drivers try to play mind games when it comes to coming into the pits. They try and come in at the last possible minute. They try and pretend to come in and then pull immediately back out again, just to try and trick the car behind into going into the pits. So it's really a lot more safe if there's a commit cone instead of a wall there, because quite often that poor cone gets run over, usually multiple times in a 500-mile race. And if you're wondering why most oval racing events have 3 numbers in them, like 500, that's just simply the distance in miles. Even in places like Australia or Japan, a lot of the times with car racing and ovals, the tradition is always to call out the distances in miles and even the speeds in miles per hour. We're not going to do that today. We have everything set up nice and neat for our Asia Pacific viewers with kilometers an hour. But if you ever wondered, that's the reason why. The Daytona 500 is 500 miles long or 850 kilometers long. So do we have any more drivers working together right now? Because I think it might be the finish of the qualifying.
Finish dengan accident, yeah.
Awesome. Tapi dapat time kan?
Tak dapat.
Adalah, masuk adalah satu lap time tu 48 tu boleh lah.
Boleh lah.
Yeah. As long as you boleh ikut dengan grup-grup ke depan tu okey tu.
Mungkin kita cubalah. Dapat duduk belakang pun okey kan. Penting tak accident.
Oh, accident tu mesti ada, kena pandai elak. Itu over racing.
Actually boleh dia masuk over yang pick up truck pukul 10.30, 11.30. Yang tu tak ada rating lah, sembarang boleh masuk.
Oval, classy, fix. Siapa berani? Every race ada accident ke?
Tengok hari ni siapa yang jadi lembu. Aku rasa macam aku kan ni.
Apa cucuk belakang? Memang game ni untuk cucuk belakang je.
Oh, ni asal aku duduk depan?
Reverse grid ke?
Dia reverse ke?
Reverse grid.
Tadi lah.
Ke jauh lagi. Korang tengah grade up kat rolling start ke?
Belum.
Rolling start.
Rolling start.
Harapan rolling start lah. Kalau over standing start memang takkan ada race. Itu dia dekat pit. Kita punya track map tu tak ada pit lane. Tak nampak korang. So the guys are gonna go off behind the safety car. They're gonna do one lap under the safety car, and then they're gonna start the race going from green. So those lights, as soon as they go away, sabar.
Dah gerak ke?
Dah.
Okay. Just ikut kereta ke depan, jangan panik. Aku jadi coach pula pada malam ni. So the guys are going to go behind the Ford Mustang, which is the official safety car at the super speedways here for iRacing. Here at Daytona, it looks like a very massive, wide open track until you jump on board with these guys and then you realize how narrow it is. Now if you're wondering why those dashed lines are there, there's actually quite a few more, but they've been rubbered in, so there's no special reason why they're up there.
Oi, no brake check.
Siapa black flag? Clear. Siapa black flag?
Clearkan black flag sebab untuk panaskan kereta dekat oval tak boleh pakai brake on a super speedway.
Oh, tak boleh pakai brake.
You're not allowed to use the brakes, yeah. Sebab masa racing pun tak pakai brake. Brake kau sejuk sampai masuk pit lane pun tak apa. Left to right is okay, but braking and accelerating, no. You can accelerate and back off. Tekan lepas minyak je.
Lifting.
Yeah. So the guy's gonna have to line up. The automated system should detect that they're in the correct positions. The race director pop-up screen will appear for each driver to tell them where they should be and whether they're close enough or not. And we have green flag running. It's a green flag start. Everyone's got away clean, and now the car in front is Saiful Arifin, I believe, with Calvin Ha on the outside, and another car on the inside there. The Patron Golden Commodore on the inside. We've got two lines developing. The line on the bottom looks a lot quicker. Saiful Arifin now ahead of Azrul Nazli with Calvin Ha in third position. Muhammad Muhammad in fourth. Dominic Ang fifth. Jasmine Jali is now fighting positions with Rashid Rydell. I keep wanting to say Ricard Rydell for whatever reason. But now they're going three wide into the banking. This is going to be very, very dangerous indeed. And Calvin Ha almost has a big accident. Big spin. It's amazing that Calvin Ha managed to catch it, but there was a big accident in the back.
Oh no.
Several cars involved. We've had a big one here coming out of turn 4. There's going to be quite a few cars into the pit lane here.
Dia mati macam mana? Macam nak pergi pit lane? Ini pecah?
Towing. Yeah. So now we're going into a full course caution as happens when you have a big accident. Automatic full course caution to bunch the field up again and get them ready for the next restart. Now, this is a very common thing in over racing, is you get quite a few safety car periods. Makes it a little bit interesting for the spectators as well, because all the cars will be backed up again. Saiful Arifin very, very close to the back of that Mustang. He's trying desperately to become the safety car. That is amazing. He is still technically behind the safety car, although for most of us we'd say that's inside the safety car. So now they'll have a few laps to try and get everyone back out of the pits.
Enjin aku pecah terus.
Yalah, aksiden besar. Tadi kita nampak tu macam menggelabah semua.
Masuk pit cepat-cepat, lepas tu try kejar kita orang. Kita tengah ni.
Sebab tengah towing tadi kan. Aku towing 2 minit lebih.
Oh, lama.
Ni towing, lepas tu tak tahu repair ke?
Tak, repair.
Fast repair.
Seminit lagi. Aduh, lama seminit.
Udush. Kesian dah nampak tadi sampai masuk 6th, 5th place tu, tapi apa terjadi kat belakang tu?
3 wide.
3 wide dekat straight tak apa. 3 wide coming out of a corner habis. Itulah chess game, dia kena tahu bila boleh pergi, bila tak boleh pergi. Tapi masa aku dulu try racing zaman dulu, itu yang paling favourite. Over racing, sebab benda crazy macam ni dapat tengok lah. Accident dia, drama dia.
Ini lah kelas C di oval macam ni lah. 40 minit, race 10 minit je.
Alah, ada pit service time pula dia.
Oh, apa tu, jangan tukar tayar ngisi minyak. Cuma repair je.
Okay, dah masuk dah.
Okay, keluar. Jangan terus keluar, kena ikut kon biru, nanti kena black flag.
Okay.
Kita orang akan pusing satu lawan lagi ni. Cepat kejar.
Okay, go for it. So car 10 and car 11 are now leaving the pits after their repairs. They're going to try their hardest to get back to the back of the field before the green flag waves again. I believe they have one more lap to go before they can go in. Macil dah boleh masuk track dah.
Okay. Tunggu kon biru kan?
Lepas kon biru.
Yeah. Okay, selaju boleh ya. Tapi bila kau dah nampak feel tu, kau jangan terus langgar dia orang. Okay, so Michael is going to join up the back field. I believe one car has already had the lucky dog, or is that just another?
Single file
Double file.
Pas Trika. Pas the Trika. Rashid Rydell. Aku kena pas Rashid Rydell.
Apa kau boleh potong sampai dia suruh lepaskan kereta. Dia double file lah, double file restart.
Double file.
Kira tak mau.
Ya, sama macam NASCAR lah. And there's one more car on track to try and join up to the back of the field. Hopefully he gets there in time before the start of the race. It looks like maybe the car is going to stay out one more lap. The lights are off, so he should be pulling in. Yes, he's pulling in. Car 10 has just arrived at the back of the field. It's red lights, and it's green. Right?
Tadi semua hilang.
Alright, so everyone's back again. That was rather strange. I think maybe because the guys floored it before the line, it might have gotten everyone a DNF briefly before it got
kacau.
So anyways, Saiful Arifin is now in the lead, followed by Azra Nesli and Calvin Ha. Azra Nesli going for the outside of the corner, trying to see if he can get any more speed, but it doesn't look to be the case. Calvin Ha and Azra Nesli are going too wide around turn 2, sorry, and oh, there's another big crash, another big accident. Someone clipped Saiful Arifin. I believe that was Calvin Ha who clipped Saiful Arifin, and that turned him in front across the field. And there was a lot of overtaking there, trying to avoid the entire field out there, and the safety car is now back out. Wow guys, satu lap pun tak dapat.
Guys, come on.
Satu lap, minta satu lap.
Aduh. Aku dah duduk luar gila dah.
Aku selamat doh. Oh.
Awesome.
Aku
macam dapat.
Aku up satu level.
Siapa yang clip Saiful Arifin tu? Kesian.
Kelvin.
Kelvin Ha.
Aduh. Kelvin dengan Azril tadi tu side by side, aku tengok, oh my god. Alright guys, so we're just going to leave. Love you and leave you guys tonight because we're just having a quick look at these oval racing. The PC's just about blown up over the other side as well from all the incidents. So it's good night from all the SRE guys. Good night from me and good night from my